Ah, I'm in trouble now, yes. No, I'm not in trouble. Wait. I do believe that is true. Nah, they have a body slam, right? They should have a body slam after this. Oh my god! I did not deserve that. Ooh, baby! That's legend. I reached the highest rank, legend, in Go Battle League. This video, I'll show you how I did it. I hit it during the first couple hours of Evolution Cup, just kind of messing around with different teams, but the team that ended up sticking till the end is the one that's currently on screen. Celio, Dragonair, and yes, Machoke. The Pokemon I said wasn't gonna be that good during my Evolution Cup meta breakdown video. And honestly, I still stand by that. I don't think it's worthy of the number 4th place on the PvPoke ranking or your Elite TM, but it definitely does have its purpose in kind of countering Vigoroth and Chansey's, which is what this team really needed. Before I settled on the Machoke, I was running Hakamo instead, which also worked very, very well, but I faced like 3 Chansey's with that squad, and they are a hell to deal with. So I decided I needed a fighter. I could have gone Vigoroth instead of Machoke. I think that'd be very solid too, but I think Vigoroth's a bit boring, so I decided to go with something a little spicier in the Machoke. Which I'm running as Purified, by the way, with Return, so I at least have some coverage against the poison types. Anyway, let's get into these battles. This first game, I'm up against a Dusclops lead. This is a pretty neutral matchup, but I'm very happy to see it here, as my Machoke absolutely sucks against Dusclops. There's literally nothing you can do with that matchup as Machoke, so I'm glad to see it in the lead here, since Celio does have a pretty neutral matchup there. I'm going to shield this up, expecting the big return, which will do quite a lot of damage. It doesn't like threaten to kill me at all, but I really need to get rid of this Dusclops, so investing a shield there seems like a good idea. Get rid of the Dusclops now, knock them out. In comes a Vigoroth now. I don't really want to stay in that matchup to get farmed down, so bring in my Dragonair. This is an okay matchup, but shield down, it's not great. I'm gonna have to take this body slam, get to a move. This is a bit of a downside of Shadow Dragonair over like a regular Dragonair. You can't get to 2 body slams here if they body slam you. It's not great, but they actually let that go. And they're gonna try to sweep with Celio, which gives me an opportunity here to maybe win with Machoke. But you already see a little bit of a problem here with Machoke. The fast move damage is not that high. Crowded Chop doesn't do that much damage. It is definitely adding up though, but like Shadow Celio, if it was counter, the Celio would have already been in the red. Crowded Chop just doesn't do as much. So in a shield down situation like this, Machoke is just not looking that good. We're gonna spam off another cross shop here though, and after this, probably just gotta let Machoke go down. Bring in the Celio, body slam there, Celio, and then hopefully get rid of the Vigoroth as well. Yeah, let the Machoke go. Bring in Celio here. I'm just gonna take a move. I wanna overfarm at this point with a body slam ready for their Vigoroth. I'm currently in body slam range of their Vigoroth though, so not great. They're gonna bring it in here, and unfortunately, I lose the CMP tie versus Vigoroth. They get off the body slam, and I lose the first match. Next up, a Celio mirror lead. This is fine with me. I'd rather have the Celio on my Machoke, of course, but having it in a mirror here is good with me too. As long as it avoids my Dragonair, I am fine. We're just gonna spam off these body slams. Unfortunately, my Celio loses CMP, which makes sense since I'm running quite a high-ranked Celio, so I'll usually end up losing the CMP and the matchup as well because of that. But at the very least, I'll be able to bring their Celio down low enough where I can farm down with either of my Pokemon afterwards. I'm running a regular Celio, by the way, but Shadow would work just fine as well if you have it. I like the bulk of the regular a bit, and well, I also don't have a Shadow Celio, but I do think that Shadow Celio could be really, really good, just because those body slams do a little bit more damage, and it helps you out in certain matchups, but in the end, it kind of depends on what team you're using, and if you prefer running bulky Pokemon or not, really. It's a kind of personal preference there. Anyway, the Celio finally goes down. I bring in Machoke. They bring in Dragonair. I'm just going to stay in for a little bit. Throw a cross shop. I don't want to bring my Dragonair in at this point because, I mean, we're just going to get Dragon Breath down, basically. So yeah, stay in. for a bit. Also expecting, since they switched out of the Celio into Dragonair, they probably have a better Machoke answer in the back. So I didn't really want to switch there, expecting their Machoke in the back, or Machoke answer in the back. So I stayed in for a bit. And it does end up being a Machoke answer in the back. It's Haunter. And I thought this wasn't going to be very good at first, as they would just get to 2 Shadow Punches. But they won't, since Haunter is so squishy. They're not going to get to 2 moves. We farm him down, and we should be able to farm down the Celio as well. My opponent goes down with 2 shields. GG's. That is why Shadow Dragonair could come in very useful. Those Dragon Breaths are just so oppressive that squishy Pokemon like Haunter can't get to multiple moves. Alright, next game, Vigoroth lead. It's really a lead I really don't like. Since, well, you can switch in Dragonair. That's like a decent matchup, but they can just body slam dip, switching to their own Dragonair in this case, and have a bunch of energy loaded, which is not awesome. But the switch timers are misaligned now. I didn't really wait out my timer there, since if they bring in their Vigoroth now, they are going to be stuck. They actually end up waiting their own timer, which is awesome, because once they bring in Vigoroth now, they're going to be stuck with my Machoke. Yeah, bring in my Machoke here. I think I should go straight for a cross shot. Let's throw a body slam first. It's going to do a significant amount of damage. I hope they're still locked in after this and I go for the cross shot. No, I couldn't. They actually bring in the Golbat now. Before I was able to fire the cross shot against the Vigoroth. That's unfortunate. But I can return this and it would do a ton of damage if they didn't shield. But unfortunately, they shielded that. I do have almost an Aurora Beam stored, so I can throw that. I think I have to no-shield this. Yeah, but it's a Poison Fang. Not great. If I throw my Aurora Beam immediately, the Vigoroth is just gonna farm me down before I get to the Body Slam. So I couldn't go for the Aurora Beam. I just have to farm up and hope a Body Slam knocks out the Vigoroth. But the Vigoroth was still so healthy that it's probably not gonna happen. Yeah, go for the Body Slam. Does this knock out the Vigoroth? It does not. And we get farmed down. GG's. Alright, so this was the first half set I did with the squad. And I ended up getting a 3-2, which brought me up to 2949 rating. So I need like a 5-0 to get to Legend at this point. First game of the Legend set. We have a great lead with Celio to Golbat. My opponent brings in the Vigoroth. This is fine with me. I can bring in my Machoke. Start Karate chopping this thing. A Body Slam does do a lot of damage. I make a mistake here. I go for the return. Really expecting my opponent to no shield since they survive a cross chop. But it was honestly stupid. I thought that they can survive a cross chop, so I went for the return. But they shielded, which is quite bad. Yeah, this is really bad. But fine. We can farm down the Vigoroth now with Dragonair. And then have energy loaded for the Golbat. I'm also not expecting a really good Celio answer in the back. Since really the only great Celio answer in this meta is Vigoroth. Or Machoke, actually. But most people don't have a Machoke, since this is so hard to get. You need to use an Elite TM on it. So I'm not expecting that. Bringing the Celio versus the Golbat down. They're staying in, which probably does mean they're weak to Celio now. Just gonna let this move go here. It's a Poison Fang. So great no-shield by me. And I do have a Pokemon weak to Celio in the back in Zweilous. I'm gonna go for the nuke again. And my opponent shields once more. Not really having much luck throwing the nuke moves this game, but it doesn't matter. We're just gonna get to another Aurora Beam here. I'm actually gonna make sure they get more Dragon Breath damage in here, because I don't want that Golbat to get too much farm and could do a Shadow Ball versus my Dragonair before I get to the Aqua Tail. So they only get 2 moves there. That means I should be able to outpace to the Aqua Tail, knock out the Golbat, and that a good match right there. Next game, a Vigoroth lead. Quite bad. Like I said, this is very awkward. I have to switch in my Dragonair, and they can always just take a shield here and then dip out and farm me down with the Dragonair, most likely, if that's what they have. They actually bring in a Haunter, which is not bad for me. Haunter does not get to 2 moves versus Dragonair, so I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm just gonna shield up their move, farm them down probably. Yeah, get switch. So I can get my Machoke aligned to that Vigoroth. I'm actually surprised a lot of Haunters don't seem to be running Shadow Punch. If I would run Haunter, I would run Shadow Punch, Ice Punch probably. Because, I mean, well, there's not much use to Shadow Ball, I think, since you basically one-shot everything with Ice Punch or Shadow Punch anyway, or you do enough damage at least. And Sludge, I guess Sludge Bomb could be nice for like Vigoroths. I think Shadow Punch might be good because it's a little more spammy. Anyway, and I'm having a Zweilous in the back. Machoke MVP in this match. GG's. Next match, Haunter lead. This is this match. Oh man, I'm just gonna go for a build up to the Aurora Beam. I'm expecting this to be a Sludge Bomb at maximum, which wouldn't do that much. But my opponent's actually running Shadow Ball, and it almost destroys me, right as after I said that I don't think it will be that useful. But it's very useful in the Celio match, it seems. They switched into Ocilio to catch my Aurora Beam, very nice play. I would have waited to make sure, like, they couldn't catch there, but I was too afraid one Shadow Claw would knock out, so I just ended up going for it. Which, well, they caught, which isn't great, but I'm able to bring in my Machoke now, go for a cross chop. I took that body slam, or that second body slam on purpose there, since I don't want the Haunter to get too much farm against my Machoke, and well, seemingly the cross chop wouldn't have knocked out anyway, so it didn't matter. Gonna be able to get to another cross chop here versus the Haunter, triple resisted, it's nothing. I'll bring in my Dragonair to farm down the Haunter now, hopefully before they get to a move. They probably wouldn't get to a move, but they switch in a Vigoroth, which isn't great. But Shadow Dragonair wins the 2 shields here, so I might be able to farm down the Vigoroth before they get to 3 body slams, and then also farm down the Haunter. It's gonna be quite close. We farm down the Vigoroth, in comes the Haunter. We barely can't farm it down, but we farm it down with Celio. It's a simultaneous KO. GG's. Next game, we have a great lead with Celio into Golbat. They switch in Dusclops. This is kind of awkward. Seeing as it has Ice Punch to hit my Dragonair, and it just completely walls Machoke, so I kind of have to stay in there. Expecting them to throw Return immediately. I want to keep my Celio healthy, as it's still going to be very useful against that Golbat too, so shield that up, switch it to my Dragonair now. If they want to throw one Ice Punch, that's very fine with me. It does do a decent chunk, but not enough to really warrant a shield, but they're actually not running Ice Punch, they're running Shadow Punch Return. Very interesting, good for me. Dragonair takes that like a champ. In comes the Golbat now. Gonna be able to get to a body slam. I think it's a Shadow Bat too, so this will do a significant amount of damage. It does. And I might be able to reach another move. Well, I would be able to reach another move before they farm me down. But they throw a Poison Fang right before I get there. So good timing by my opponent there. Bring in the Celio right here after waiting out the timer. Since I misaligned my switch timers earlier, I really have to wait this out, or I'm gonna get locked in versus this Vigoroth. But since I waited it out, I can get in my Machoke basically instantly. This is still not looking amazing. Vigoroth does beat Machoke in the uneven shields with a shield advantage on their side, so not too great, but I will be able to get to 2 cross shops here to hopefully take 2 shields. A cross shop actually wouldn't knock out from here, but it does the most amount of damage of anything in the game right now, so definitely shooting this. Yep, and now they're in range where a body slam almost knocks out from Celio though, so I'm not looking too bad here. I will shield this, I think. Since the Golbat is basically energy dry, this is now the hardest hitting move. I'm pretty sure it hits harder than a Poison Fang or Shadow Bat, and the Bat isn't going to reach a Shadow Ball, so that was a safe shield. I'm going to throw another Body Slam here. This won't knock me out, but will put me in the yellow. Maybe I can get it knocked out here by a Poison Fang. I don't think they'd reach it, but I throw the Body Slam anyway, since I know I'll be able to farm down the Vigoroth before it gets to the move or farms me down. So that's just a safe play. And now we farm down the Vigoroth, take it out. GG's. Final match. We have an amazing lead. In comes a Dusclops again, and it's a Feint Attack Dusclops, which is wild. Feint Attack actually gives Dusclops a much better matchup versus Vigoroth. Like, instead of just narrowly winning the ones or every even shield scenario, we now destroy the even shield scenarios, and Dusclops can even win at a shield deficit against Vigoroth then, which is kind of wild. So if you want an ultimate Vigoroth answer, Feint Attack Dusclops is probably the way, but it just does worse against most other matchups. So I'm not sure if it's something I'd entirely recommend, unless you really, really hate Vigoroth. Anyway, in comes their Dragonair now. I'm going to be able to probably get a shield with this Body Slam. They do shield it up. Bring in Celio here. Wait out timer, of course, because again, my timer is misaligned. I don't want to get locked in against anything. I come in a little early, though. Might be a bit of a mistake. They throw their move. I'm expecting them to maybe be weak in the back since they threw that move. Not switched out, but it's actually not Machoke. It's Vigoroth, which my Machoke is very good against, but not in the shield deficit I'm in currently. I'm going to build up a Body Slam before switching out. Since I'm already behind in energy anyway, I can afford to give the Vigoroth some extra counters there. Just build up the Body Slam on my Celio. Bring in my Machoke. Go for the cross repair, win the CMB tie. If they no-shield this, It's really good. If they shield this, I might be in a bad spot, but they no shield that, which is great. In comes Dragonair. Now this thing was energy dry. If they farm up enough here to get to the body slam, I lose, but I don't think they'll be able to. So I take the shield, get another Crowder Chop off, and I should be able to get to the body slam here to knock out their Dragonair. And that is enough to get me a 4-0-1 set, which brought me to Legend right here at 3003 elo. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.